Bats. To most of us, they might just seem creatures that fly in the night sky and who are best friends with the vampires. But they are much more than that. In fact, bats are geniuses. They fly almost 700 kilometers every night before they sleep upside down in old, spooky and abandoned buildings. And during the course of its 700-kilometer journey, they can eat up to 3,000 insects. But that's not what makes them geniuses. The fact that they can navigate and eat all these insects in the dark gives them that title. During the 1800s, scientists were very interested to find out how the eyes of the bats worked, because they could see everything in the dark and no other creature on the planet could do that. So they performed a series of experiments where they blindfolded the bat and made it to fly. And what they discovered totally blew their minds. They discovered that the bats flew without any problems even with the blindfolds on and did not hit any obstacle on its way. This made one thing clear to them, that the bats don't use their eyes to navigate at all. After finding out that the bats don't use their eyes to navigate, the scientists did another experiment, but this time they closed the ear of the bat and made it to fly. This time, however, they noticed that every time the bat flew, it crashed into some other obstacle. The second experiment gave the scientists a better picture to look at, and they were convinced that the bats don't use their eyes but they use their ears to navigate. But the scientists did not stop there. They did a lot of research on the topic and found out that the bats emit high frequency echoes using their mouth when they fly. At first, this seemed confusing to them, but as they slowly started to join the dots, the answer made much more sense to them. So now let's learn how bats use their ear and mouth combination to navigate. Bats produce high frequency echoes with the help of a special muscle which is present in their neck. These high frequency echoes are as loud as a jet engine which is just 30 meters away from us. But since these echoes are more than 20,000 Hz, we can't hear them. So once bats produce these echoes hit an obstacle around it. In case of bats, obstacle could be anything. For example, leaves, trees, rocks, or even sometimes humans. So once these echoes go and hit an obstacle, these echoes get reflected back. The reflected echoes vibrate the eardrum of the bat so that it can listen to it. These reflected echoes are then sent to the brain in the form of nerve impulses. The brain then interprets these vibrations and creates a picture of its surroundings. You can think of bats as blind people who create an image of what's going on around them with the help of sounds. So for example, if a bat produces an echo which goes and hits the tree, the echo will get reflected back. The bat will then listen to the reflected echo and will analyze the location and distance of that tree and will try to fly past it. Since bats produce these echoes 190 times per second, they can find the location of each and every obstacle around them. They can even find out whether the reflected echo came from a large tree or a tiny leaf. Since this process involves the use of echoes to find location of obstacles, this process is known as echolocation. Bats aren't the only animals who use echolocation. Even dolphins and killer whales use this technique to navigate around. In fact, even submarines use this technique. They use this technique to find shipwreckages. Even Titanic was found using this location. It's fascinating to think how just one question about bats paved the way for technology that is now used by all. Just like that, another question about bats will be answered in the next video. See you there. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, make sure to click subscribe and also like the video. Also, feel free to leave your doubts and suggestions in the comment box. I'll see you in the next one.